There we are.
Thank you. Is this working? Yeah. Pleasure to be here. Amazing presentations, I have to say. I have learned a lot and well organized also. So thank you for on behalf of me and the companies that I present. Pecha Kucha, first time for me, 20 seconds, 20 slides, tough. Okay, let's start. So my boy says that I don't know anything about sailing, and my wife heard also from a friend that I'm basically a classic boat person since I'm speaking here, and she was saying, what? And I'm here. I'm basically representing Taaleri Energia and also Aktia Bank. It's our partner and also sponsoring this event. And basically what I'm also trying to do is to pitch our new fund called SolarWind 3 Fund. What we are doing, I think you are familiar with harnessing wind and also using solar panels and batteries in your boats, so nothing new for you. We are doing the same, but in a large scale. And what means large scale is like this. One of our wind farms in Finland. We are the largest wind producer in Finland. And so this kind of projects we are basically developing and building. What we are doing also is this. Huge solar plants. So this is a field of 850 football pitches. So huge projects. We are changing the climate, investing into these kind of projects and developing these kind of projects. This is in Jordan. It's not windy all the time, and the sun is not shining. So that's why there's a lot of volatility coming into the market. And that's why the backup power is needed. And we are investing also into battery projects. So this is a new area where we have entered. Climate change, we all know this is happening. But let's not also only talk about this. Let's walk the talk. We need projects. We need to invest in somewhere in the renewable energy. Otherwise, it doesn't change anywhere. So we are already behind our goals to prevent this. Solar and wind, especially hydrogen, are coming also. We need a lot of projects. We are in energy transitions, and at the same time, energy and electricity need will increase dramatically. So we need a lot of projects. This nice guy is our founder, basically, founder of Taaleri Energia's energy business, funny-looking guy. He had a dream to build 3 different projects in Finland. Today we have 400 windmills in the world, so quite a lot. Crew, I'm really proud of this crew. We have done a lot. Every boat, every yacht needs a good crew. So we have a lot of experience, huge track record, have done a lot of projects, and we have engineers up to the lawyers, so different backgrounds. So what we are doing is basically we are building and supervising the building of this kind of power plants. We are providing senior debt. We are developing the projects basically from the scratch. Offtake means that we find the buyer of the electricity that we are producing. So this is what we are doing. So far, 27 huge projects what we have done. Different locations, wind and solar, and now batteries. So concrete projects what we have achieved. But we are not doing this by ourselves. So we are a fund manager. So we have raised 5 different funds so far, and currently we are raising our latest one called Taaleri SolarWind 3. We are targeting 600 million euros in equity into this fund. So what we are then going to do with this money? The fund will basically invest 25 to 30 different projects wind, solar, and batteries. And the locations, you will see the next. So we are focusing in 5 different markets. Scandinavia is our home market, Baltics included, Poland, Southern Eastern Europe, Iberia, and then this island there, that's basically Texas in US. So we know these countries and areas really well. We have a good track record. We have invested several projects. I'm not only talking about this because we have already secured 35 different projects in these markets. So these are really waiting for investors now. So these are development phase projects which we will eventually build. Not all of them, but most of them. The fund is, I would say, the green of the greenest. So according to this EU taxonomy, all the funds what we are having are Article 9 funds. So basically it means that in this ranking, it's the highest category that you can achieve. What does it mean is that, for instance, the CO2 emissions, we are creating a lot of offsets, investing into these projects, and also following the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So, will the wind save the world? Yes, it will, but it will need investments. So let's sail together. If you are interested, this is a concrete opportunity to invest into these assets. And as you can see, Tamer is already waiting for you. And if you want to hear more, please contact me or my colleague in Aktia, Mr. Jussi Karlsson, and we will tell you more. So that's my pitch. Thank you.
Nice to be here telling the whole Tulikettu story, which has been a roller coaster ride. Those of you who have been reading papers know about that 10 minutes is really tough requirement, but I'll do my best and tell where we are now and how this thing started. So I think we could kick off, please. So in 2018, that's the background when Tulikettu project started. So I had my XP44 and we wanted to go outside the Baltic Sea to see how we are performing against international teams. And that's when this project started. Our first race was Volvo Round Island Yacht Race. And we actually ended up winning that race, or our class, IRC1 in that race. It's a smaller orc race, but still really traditional and respected. And I thought that it's a good start, but this is a small race. Okay, we went on and did altogether 7 RORC races in Europe and Caribbean. This is from Caribbean 600 race. So we finished, our best result was, I think, middle sea race. We were 17 overall, but then, for example, in Fastnet race, this is from the Fastnet race 2019, we were 22nd. And we were all the time improving our performance. I realized that we have reached or close to reach the maximum performance of XP44, something new. So we set new goals for the project, wanted to be the first Finnish team all Finnish team to win one of the most biggest RORC races and also the RORC Season Points Championship. We actually finished 4th. And in Finnish, we have a saying that your hunger grows when you are eating. So I contacted Infinity by email and asked that, do you have something future-proof under development? And they had this Infinity 52, which is designed around the foil. I'll explain what it means a bit later. So this is DSS basic. So you actually add hydrodynamic vertical force, which provides lift from the water and also riding moment. So you actually end up having less displacement, and you don't pitch into the waves when you slide over the waves. We started the project, the boat was built in the US. And other effects were that the hull shape is more narrow than in for example, TP52s. And that means that we have basically two boats in one. We can have more beam when we need it by putting out the foil. And when we don't need beam, we slide the foil inside the boat, which is quite efficient. So the boat was built and then launched in January 2022. Really happy about it. Beautiful boat, really good looking fox. We named it Tulikettu, Firefox in English, because the Americans said that it's quite nice story. I won't tell it now. Behind Tulikettu, what that means in Finnish. So we also we have these goals to win something big. We needed to also improve the team, not only to have a future-proof boat. So we hired Stu Bannatyne, four-time Volvo Ocean Race winner, who also participated in the design of the boat. We launched the boat and started to sail the boat, and we immediately saw that there is great performance in this boat. So our reaching speed was 3 to 9 knots faster than without the foil. So great performance there. And also, obviously, we want to be as fast as the fastest boat when sailing upwind, and that was also proved. It's fast also upwind. Okay, roller coaster ride started. We hit something, or the delivery crew hit something in North Atlantic, and the sail drive leg came through the hull. So there was a lot of damage, and they had to evacuate from the boat. And we all thought it was lost and sank in the bottom of Atlantic Ocean. 6 weeks after that, I received a message from another delivery crew that Tulikettu has been sighted. I went down to Portugal, and with the help of Portuguese Air Force, we found the boat and returned it to UK for repairs. So after 4 or 5 months repairs, the boat was again sailing. This is from November. Everything is fine, and we could finally start to plan our first race, which was due to happen already last summer. Our first race was Rourke Transatlantic Race, and the boat was actually finished 2 days before the race, and we actually could even polish the foil. We were ready, but we had only 10 days of training behind us, but we wanted to get on the race course to learn more about the boat. Transatlantic race was start of the learning curve for us after 10 days of sailing. So we first 2 days just tried out, slided the foil in and out. It was all the time downwind, which is not obviously optimal for a foil. And we finished 7th in overall after breaking our gooseneck and blowing up one spinnaker. Went to Caribbean 600, and then the other goal of this project, which is to create the path for Finnish Olympic sailors to become pros. So Sinem and Mikaela joined us there. Caribbean 600 race, roller coaster ride continued. So we started the race quite well, actually. The boat also proved that it's fast upwind. We were among the leading pack, just got our foil out for the first reaching leg and started to really gain from the foil. But the foil broke during the race, snapped, and it's currently being investigated why that happened. And we will get the new foil and probably have to adjust the foiling system. Our next race will be in May, and the main goal of this season is Fastnet race in July. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. I'm one of those lucky persons like William earlier. I've been messing around with boats for all my adult life. I never had to work a day in my life. But I share the same concern like William that with classic yachts we're facing new problems and we need to attract new people, and here we go. Let's go. So first, thank you organizers. I definitely got the toughest title on today's agenda. So the question really is, how do we get new faces in the middle of a picture like this? And it became very quickly clear to me that this is not one-man job. So I will be asking for your help in this upcoming challenge we all face. According to Ecomia Market Study 2022, there are 33 million boats in the world today. Sad fact for us sailors is that only 8% of those are sailing yachts. Even more so, classic yachts are not mentioned at all, not even as a subcategory in motor or in sail. According to that same study, Finland is, however, on top of the world, number 2 country when we calculate boats per capita. At the same time, our government has confirmed that last year the birth rate in Finland was lowest in 150 years. So less babies, more boats. Sounds like a secret government agenda to make Finland number 1. On more serious note, the declining birth rate is an issue for the classic yacht ownership as well. Classic yachts are competing head-to-head against all the latest, greatest things, all new boats, designs, trends and innovation. If people are too busy in their daily lives to have babies, we can take it granted that they have so many other things to buy and deal with that the classic yacht is definitely not in their headspace. So how the hell do we attract new people into classic yacht ownership? When you look at the current classic yacht owners, especially in the Met circuit, a lot of them are seasoned yachtsmen and women. This owner is one of good clients of William. But classic yacht is not their first buy. It has been a slow evolution of ownership rather than impulse purchase. Every story is different, as you can end up as a classic yacht owner in many different ways. Some have inherited a yacht, like we heard today. Some have bought a restoration project. Some have grown up with the dream that one day they will own a Herreshoff designed racing sloop. But you don't wake up just one day with a desire that today I will buy a classic yacht. There's typically some event, experience, or sometimes just a photo like this that has left the person with a lasting memory, which then later on in life connects with them emotionally and get with the idea of having a classic yacht themselves. Let me tell you a story about a Canadian who's in the process of maybe becoming a classic yacht owner. He has had motorboats all his life. He has extensively cruised in British Columbia. He was serious into car racing, but never sailed before or never raced yachts. 7 years ago, he was invited to join his friend on a holiday. And when landing to Sardinia, he saw this kind of view from the plane, a fleet of maxi yachts racing around the rocks in Porto Cervo. And that's when something magic happened. This view left him with a lasting memory as something interesting for the future. 2 years later, he decided to spend some more time in Europe and get serious about doing some regattas. He called me and he was interested in buying this Wally I had for sale at the time. He closed the deal and took over the race crew and the program we had put together for the previous owner. And in 6 weeks later, this happened. He won his first ever regatta that he ever entered, and he became Maxi World Champion. Needless to say, he surprised himself, and even more so his competition. He has since won multiple regattas in Porto Cervo and in Saint-Tropez. And during the past 5 years racing in Saint-Tropez, he has not been able to avoid classic yachts. It is just impossible. So you can see in this photo, the modern boats are literally surrounded by classic yachts, and it's working. He's now thinking about changing into classic yacht. However, buying a classic yacht has proven a lot more difficult and complex process for him. He has to learn and understand about a completely new list of designers, shipyards, racing classes that he has never heard of before. He's now asking, what the hell should I buy? Twist to this story is that he maybe doesn't have to change his yacht at all. This racing machine will become 25 years old next year and qualify for classic racing in certain rules. So we will all have to recalibrate our minds what the future classic will look like. But I believe these younger classics will be an important tool for us to attract new future owners of classic yachts. To my knowledge, there's no official program to introduce new people to classic yachts. So the question to all of us today is, what do we do to attract new people like this from Goodwood Festival and other places into classic yachts? We need to look outside this room. This photo is from Monaco Classic Week, where they combine classic yacht regatta with motorboat rendezvous and a classic car show. I have witnessed firsthand a friend of a classic car owner who came to this event based purely on his interest in cars, but started shortly after asking serious questions about buying a classic yacht and what's involved. This type of mixed event generates great opportunities to connect totally new people with classic yacht community. I believe this type of activity is one of the most effective ways to create future classic yacht owners. On this 10th anniversary, I want to congratulate the organizers of this Classic Yacht Symposium. This is truly noble initiative. I encourage you to build on this successful format and lead the way for all of us in this new challenge. What the hell can we do to have more classic yacht owners in the future? We understand now making new owners of classic yachts is a long process and it's not a one-man job. It's a team effort, but luckily it involves wining and dining in great company. So let's get to work on this what and how challenge, and let's start at tonight's gala dinner. Thank you very much.
Well, you've heard a lot of smart stories today about design and investment and all of this. Sorry, I can't give you any of that. What I'll present to you now will be total crap, just 20 useless stories. So let's get started. 20 short stories of total nonsense. That's what we'll do. Just wait a second. Yeah. So I'm going to start with a christening ceremony. You know that we tie the champagne bottles to a rope? Of course, that has a reason, because in the mid-1800s, there was an admiral's wife who tried to christen a boat. She missed, and the bottle flew and hit a spectator in the head. When sailors go out, traditionally, they never told their destination, because if they would tell the destination, the weather gods of the weather would know where they go and make the trip difficult. Therefore, they only told the direction. Let's make sure we know what a yacht is. The definition of a yacht is a naval vessel made for sporting with a deck and too big to row. So, therefore, all of you who have motorboats, I don't think they qualify. Spilled oil. I read in Dundee Advertiser that they used oil to calm down the sea, the breaking sea outside the harbor. So they had a pipeline, they pump out oil, and the sea didn't break. Unfortunately, I don't know what kind of oil they used. Problems in the keel beam. There's a sports reporter from Sweden, Carl Edward Smith. He found that empty beer bottles were spreading bacteria in the keel and therefore causing the boats to rotten. So he suggested to throw the bottles into the sea because he couldn't stop them sailing. 100 Guinea Cup. The world history could have been a lot of different, because the winning boat actually lost or won against a lot of boats. They hit the reef, they hit each other. Sorry for that. Protection against stinking sailors. There's a good recipe of how to protect against stinking sailors. You need to wash them, coat them with lotions, and then send them out. Rules aboard. One of the important rules is to not allow to have high hats, high-heeled boots, long pipes, and non-seaman-like clothing. And furthermore, you're not allowed to fall overboard. I never knew that. More rules. All sacrifice to Neptune are given to leeward. A worthy yachtsman doesn't drink a lot, because if you drink too much, you're actually a Sunday cruiser. And any unrequested advice to the captain should be avoided. Tea or victory. For a long time, Sir Thomas Lipton was the most successful or most popular American, and they say it's because he lost the America's Cup 5 times. But it was very good for his tea business. Cholera. In 1800s, a lot of Finnish yachts went over to Sweden to race against the Swedes, and they needed to stay 2 nights in quarantine. On the same quarantine island, there was a ship full of female sailors, and the guys say that that was their best vacation ever. Ruling the waves, one of my favorite boats owner is Sir Richard Sutton, who refused to finish the race after his rival had to bail out. And that was Mr. John Malcolm Forbes. Too long time at sea. 1989 Whitbread, there was a long-haired Finnish guy. UBS skipper mistakenly approached him and asked him if he would like to go on dancing, and he said, maybe later. Controversial ruling, 1913. Mr. A.E. Payne, who had designed a 6-meter, was by the court commissioned to pay 130 guineas to the owner, a buyer of the boat, because it wasn't fast enough. There was a gambler, Harry Nyström, who was delivering a boat to a French buyer, Mr. Rothschild, and Rothschild complained of the boat being very slow. Nyström said, I'll race with it, and gambled, and he won. Another court case. Manfred Wierig was sailing a small yacht outside Rostock, and a huge catamaran arrives, hits him, takes the mast, he's unharmed, and the company tried to claim that he didn't have any lanterns or radar reflector. Independence. When Estonia got independent, the first sailors came to Helsinki in 1991, or actually 1992, and they saw the old Estonian flag raised, and that flag was donated to them. Mohawk, 150 foot long, but only 6 foot deep, back in 1875. They had a centerboard which took down the depth to 10 meters. But once raising the sails, actually they failed and the boat sunk and the crew died. Safe harbor, this is my last slide. There was an American Commodore who said that we should have a safe harbor for bankrupt aged sailors. And there we could go and we could tell our stories, tell our lies together. I had a dream. I got out of my bed. I had sailed up on the highway. I could hear cars coming. I ran out of the bed. I pulled out my bookshelf. And then I called the insurance company and I asked them, should I take it from a car insurance, boat insurance, or home insurance? They gave me a payment and said, compensation for fire damage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's take the first slide. So actually, I kind of more like the idea of being the Commodore of asses than a professor. You can see the abbreviation of Aristo Segelsällskapet is ass, and I don't know what they were thinking about when they made the name of the sailing. But okay, so this is Turku, and in the map you can see that Turku is pretty much in the middle of everything. From our point of view, Helsinki is somewhere in deep east sides of Finland, and there's a river running through city center of Turku, as you can see in the picture. But the problem is that sailing-wise, it's a bit problematic if you go upstream. This is actually a picture from, I guess, August night in Turku. So there's, the river is pretty narrow. There's also bridges. It makes sailing a bit difficult, especially with the eights. But when we get downstream, so the river is more wide, and you can see here the boats are moored at the riverbanks. There are some scary cruises there and other boats. Actually, this is from 2015 when the ASS was having its 150 years anniversary regatta. Also some meter boats over here, eights getting prepared for the races. So actually going more downstream makes it much easier to sail also big boats in the Aura River. And actually we are planning that we will have the starting line somewhere over here. You can see the dotted line behind the Finnish Swan. I guess we can fit, 25 or 38 meters boats over there. Usually the wind is coming from southwest, so that makes a really good upwind start. And here you can see a race going on. The race is just, started a couple of minutes ago, and the boats are racing in the Aura River, heading out to the sea. So this is something we are planning to do now in a couple of years. But, all right, let's see the next slide. Okay, so vitsi, joke. We will not sail in the river. You can see the race area over there, and also the venue, which is just outside the river of Aura. And what is happening in the venue, we will see that in the next slide. So the venue is actually the Turku Boatyard, really a well-known place, actually the biggest boatyard in the Nordic countries when it was working from 1889, I think, to 1954. So more than 5,000 boats were manufactured there, scary cruisers, meter boats, and so on. It was in really bad condition after ending its activities, but some years ago, so the Håkans family took over, and they have renovated the whole area, and it looks like this nowadays. There's lots of restaurants. You can see the pizzeria on the left-hand side of the picture. The piers are new. There's several restaurants, also other possibilities to sailors to spend time there. And then when you sail out from the venue along this orange line, as you can see there, so it's about 3 to 4 nautical miles to the race course, so 30 to 40 minutes to go. So there's a really nice looking channel out to the sea, and you can see on the left-hand side when you sail out, so you can see the Airisto Segelsällskap clubhouse built, I think it was in 1904. There's also a nice terrace over there, and I guess the best sunset in Turku is over there. And then when you continue further, so you can see also these nice 19th century wooden villas on Ruissalo side, so you can really enjoy also the trip out to the race course as a racer or spectator or whatever you're doing. And then finally we come out to Airisto. Airisto is the place where the races are being held. And in the next picture, you can see some pictures. I mean, Airisto is the holy grail of sailing. I mean, when you get there, so all your aches and pains and illnesses just disappear, and, just happiness takes over. This is from the Swan Regatta last year, the left-hand side picture, and then there is smaller boat regattas as well. I mean, actually, Swan Regatta is organized also the coming year, and my understanding is that they're waiting for 80 to 100 boats attending. But also classical regattas. On the right-hand side, you can see the boats racing in the Airisto Classic Regatta. For some years ago, actually the biggest scary cruiser in the world, the 150-meter Beatrice Aurore there, but also 8-meter class boats. This is from some years back, also from Airisto. There's some funny things happening in the back end of the fleet. I don't know what's going on over there. But I mean, we can do cool 8-meter class races also in Airisto. And then we have these classic boats as spectator boats, so we can take out people to the Airisto. Airavata also built in Turku Boatyard, and also Bonito, which is actually now renovated in the same place, and I guess it will be done in 2025. So we can also have people, attending the races as spectators. And then we come back to the marina, so there's nice spaces in the boatyard, several big halls where you can organize, dinner parties or prize-giving ceremonies or whatever. And I will promise that actually we will organize the best parties ever during the regatta. I was thinking that maybe we will destroy your livers, but I think we will rejuvenate your brains and your minds. So this will be a kind of compensatory thing that will happen during the Worlds in 2025. So hopefully we'll see you all in 25 in Turku. Please come as racers or sailors or spectators or whatever. Thank you very much.
So hey, unlike in other presentations, there is 3 of us here, but to be fair, if you combine our ages, we wouldn't even be that old. Anyway, we will give you a good 6 minutes of the next generation of classic yacht sailing.
Yes, and like said, we're here representing the Finnish 5-meter association and Ruissalo Boatyard. And as you can see on the beautiful and very much scientifically accurate chart over there, in the past 4 years there have been more boats on the starting line. And there has also been more young people and women in the 5-meter competitions, which is amazing.
So there has been a clear change in the 5-meter community. How has this happened and how have the youngsters ended up in the sports? We're going to introduce ourselves first and tell you about how we got into the classic sailing. We'll start with Mila.
Yeah, so I'm Mila, and my entrance to sailing started even before I was born, when my parents bought the boat Röde Orm about 25 years ago, and it's been part of our family ever since. Despite this, I only really got into sailing around 4 years ago, after I was done pursuing other sports, and you can see Röde there.
Yes, so I'm Niilo Olander, and in my case, everything happened quite fast by having a friend as out of his mind as I am, and a high school teacher maybe more out of his. At least, that's how we built our first wooden catamaran.
Thank you, Niilo. Hi, I'm Seppä, and I got into classic sailing through Ruissalo Sailing in Turku at Ruissalon Telakka. So I'll tell you more about Ruissalo Sailing later, but the community has swooped me in, and I can't wait to explore it more.
Thank you.
So now you've heard 3 of our stories, but we also ask other youngsters about how they got into classic sailing, and you'll see some of the comments on the screen now. But let's emphasize few. The history of the boats and the beauty of the boats was mentioned often.
So, one of the important things for us young sailors are the more experienced ones. Their helpfulness has given us a lot of confidence. For example, right before our first regatta, we were sailing with another 5 named Blåvinge. We weren't that good at trimming, and they noted it. And that's when they came to the rescue. Jussi jumped on board during downwind and taught us by hand. I think it's safe to say that the passion of our sailors is unmatched.
Yeah. One of the reasons why my parents bought Röde Orm was because of the beauty and the story of the boat. And in the 5-meter Finland social media and the website, we have really tried to capture the beauty and the stories of these amazing wooden boats. And we also are hoping that we could inspire other young and older sailors to get on board the classic madness.
Yes. Of course, with 5s, the affordability is a huge factor for us not yet so wealthy. It was a lot easier to join classics because I was able to do the renovations myself on Lotta. Here, you can see it. And also with fellow owners, the expenses were in reach.
Yes, and as we talk about affordability, 5-meter Ruissalo Sailing at Ruissalo Telakka offers an opportunity to get to know the community and try the boats and even try racing with them. So trying classics is affordable, and we should definitely keep it that way.
So I've been around the classic boat and 5-meter environment from a young age, and one of my first memories are collecting empty beer cans with my brother after my dad's competitions, and we made huge fortunes, I might add. Also, one of my fondest memories is sailing Viaparin Tuoppi with 6 children and 2 adults in one 5-meter boat. 4 years ago, when I really got into a competition, I fell in love with the community and the environment around 5-meter sailing. It's amazing that you can have such a good competition at sea, and then when you get to the shore, there's this community where people share tips and advices and just enjoy each other's company.
Yes. I think every classic has its own history, and surely every sailor is keen to know that history. For that reason, it is important that we keep this information accessible. Luckily, the old Finnish Metre magazines, you can see, well, they are online now.
Yeah.
So,
Minä. And well, there was something, but as Niilo said, it's important, amazing and irreplaceable that the more experienced sailors are teaching the younger ones. And for example, my dad taught me how to sail.
yeah, thank you. So 5-meter sailing has experienced a big popularity among sailors of any age. But what is there to come next, and what will happen within the next 10 years? These are the questions for all of us to answer. So the scenarios for the future can be adventurous and future-oriented, but they can be also as simple as Red Bull sponsorship, or keeping boats in good shape, mentoring, and asking one to try the sports. The opportunities are actually endless.
Good idea, Selma. Yeah. For coming years, we challenge every sailor and skipper and owner to spread the passion and knowledge around the yachts. And we also dare you to show your desire. We would also like to thank every Finnish sailing photographer for the eye candy they provide us today.
Yes. Thank you very much, and we hope you have an amazing evening and hope to see you on the racetracks in the summer.
Thank you.